chairman was just at Georgie last night. I heard that speech somewhere before.
Exactly. Thank you, Al. It worked. They were practicing.
Should be all set.
Okay, so we are now back in session. And we're with Resolution A, which is to set the time and date of the annual meeting and the budget hearing. So, the motion by Dave, second. Jay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, budget amendments, I got sewer district. I guess B, we were supposed to do at the same time, so motion to set the time and place for the public hearing also. Moved by Dave, second by
Second. Second.
Cassie. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, C is a resolution authorizing the issuance of the bonds for sewer district. Need a motion for that. Moved by Dave, is there a second?
Aye.
Second by Jay Skelly. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution D and E and, let's see, F. These are all sewer district, D through G. Can I get them all there? They're all tied into the same thing, I believe. No. Which ones? Some of them are and some of them aren't.
D and E are grant.
D and E are separate grants? Okay.
F, G, and H are bid awards.
Okay.
You can get out of it, you guys don't want it.
I was trying to get, I can't win. Okay.
You could have all done by now. I tried for years.
Okay, so D's an engineering planning grant. I need a motion to,
Move it.
Second by Cassie, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Go ahead.
For D and E, when the packet goes out tomorrow, you'll see a budget amendment piece in there. These two resolutions don't currently have a budget amendment in there. I'm working with the executive director to get those specific lines for you. So when you get the packet in the mail on Friday, D and E will have a budget resolution.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And now on E. Motion on E.
Move it.
Second by Jane Cassie, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Yep. F is, Berkey Construction, and Schultz Construction. And the winner is who? Schultz must be. Okay, moved by Dave. Somebody? The second. Dave Skelly. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution G is another one, HVAC replacement, and that bid was won by John Danforth and Company. Motion to accept that bid.
Move it.
Moved by Kathy, second by Dave. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The last one is the solids building roof replacement. Looks like Titan Roofing. Motion to move that one. Jay, second. Dave, any discussion?
Right. Just point of clarity for F, G, and H, these bid awards are all contingent upon the EFC approval of the contract.
Oh, okay.
So if one of the contracts is denied, you'll see it back again, that's all.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. On to county clerk, and this was what we passed in the prior meeting on our grants, right?
Move it.
Yeah. Moved by Cassie, seconded by Dave. Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. J is standard workday. Anything, if there's no questions, moved by Dave, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Cassie, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. And K is to amend the resolution number 247, providing for payment rates for county employees providing contact tracing. Melissa, you wanna say something about this?
Sure. Public health has had difficulty, really getting enough contact tracers, to provide the services that they currently need, as their COVID, cases increase. So, there was a resolution, and it was already passed, I think in 2020, 247 of 2020. And we're asking to amend that resolution because during the normal workday, if we have employees that department heads are able to use, public health could train as contact tracers, we'd like to use those during the normal workday and just pay them their normal salary or rate of pay and not have to pay them that contact tracer rate, which was in the prior resolution.
I need a motion. Dave, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? We're all good? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Now on to other business.
Treasurer's report. You skipped it because of the bad news.
Well, yeah, I thought that was it. Was there more? I didn't get the bad news. I didn't get it sent to me.
Yes, you did.
Oh, maybe I did. It's right here. Or on my way here.
It was emailed out this morning.
Yeah, that's right on my way. Anything, Treasurer?
I'll try to make it quick. So the sales tax report for the first time since February has one of those red numbers in it that we don't like. It was a much larger red number than I would have expected. I'm far from an economist, but I know a couple of things. And I'm not particularly surprised by the number because of the considerable supply chain problems that we're having. And if you all remember, our number one contribution to sales tax in Washington County is auto sales. And as you know, from our several committee meetings, you can't get a darn car right now. I mean, there's some on the lot, but it's hard to get a car right now. And we've got residents that have had cars on back order for 3 months, waiting for the chips to come from the plant. And then Ford had a plant in Texas or whatever that burned down. So it didn't help things.
Well, the sheriff's car didn't even come.
So it is possible that because sales of autos are our number one contributor in that market right now, you can't get your hands on one, other than, there's some, I'm not saying there's no cars, but it's not flowing as freely as it was.
No, the lots are empty.
So I unfortunately don't get specific data from the comptroller until 6 months out from the actual, but my crystal ball tells me that between those two factors, it didn't shock me to see a red number. I just would like to have seen a lower red number.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
There's lots of trucks. There's lots of trucks, no cars.
There's not even lots of trucks.
There's a lot of trucks. Yes.
Wow.
And then, your cash balances as usual, your, the extra things that I, put in, two extra things I gave you this month that you don't normally get. We got our fiscal stress score in from the comptroller. As you can see, it went down considerably from a 10 to a 6.7. That's a decent reduction. But that's really based on, we've now cycled out of that $5.5 million hit that we took on the Fort Everett property. So we're kind of at the other end of that, impact on our fund balance. So that had a significant impact on our fiscal stress score. It still has a susceptible to environmental stress score, and those are the kinds of things that you can't really do anything about. And I included the next few pages, I actually included this time for you the actual categories and how the state scored it. You get these same things in your town too, so you'll understand these when you see them. They're not foreign to you. I I just don't think that I normally provide them to you for the county, so I wanted you to actually see the category scores this time. And so there was really only 2 categories that we scored in on the fiscal stress. So I'm happy to see that. And my guess is that when we close 2021, that number is gonna go down again, is my prediction. Because one of the biggest drivers for our score is the deficit funding. And I don't see as many deficits, if any, in our future this year. So I think that fiscal stress score for 2021 will actually drop again a little bit. So I'm pleased to deliver that news. But again, it's only my prediction, for what it's worth. And the last few pages, I wanted to kind of give you a little supplement to your budget packet, because one of the most common questions that I heard in the budget meetings was about, well, how come it's this much in Social Security, and how come it's this much in health insurance? And we tried to explain, don't get stuck on the allocation, look at that holistically. So I wanted to, so the last few pages of this report is salary comparison, 2021 to 2022. You can see the variance, if it's up, if it's down, if it's sideways. And then more importantly, most of the questions were around fringe. So there's the very end of this package is a fringe report to take all of the Social Security from each department, all of the retirement from each department, and give it to you in a group. So you can see that holistic number, what it is in this budget versus what it was actual 18, 19, 20. So I hope that helps alleviate some of those questions and concerns, because it's hard when you're going through the department and seeing, well, how come the retirement's this and how come the health insurance is that. I'm hoping these sheets have some value so you can look at it holistically and kind of, make fringe a non-issue as you move forward. Good news was that our retirement bill went down 1.3 million, so also good.
It was good for 30,000 in the budget.
But I had already given that number out, so I was only out by 30,000. So, although I was happy to be down 1.3 million on my bill, I did only save Brian 30,000. That's all I have to.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody would like to discuss?
You wanna?
Yes, I want to put the treasurer under the microscope.
There you go.
Because I read the paper yesterday and it showed Warren County is having their tax foreclosure sale, and I keep wondering why we can't have our tax foreclosure sale, and the questions come up. Can we have an answer? And we'll have the answer when people ask us.
So if we rewind to last government option, we talked about this and the answer is the same. If you want me to go into some version of tax foreclosure, I will gladly do that. So there is still a mechanism, there is a process by which you can foreclose. You send out your letters, you send out a hardship notice, they return a hardship notice or they don't. You have one-on-one meetings with the taxpayer. So there is a process to get you across that finish line. When we last talked, we as a group weren't comfortable going half into the process. We were gonna wait till January, we can just go full force forward. If the sentiment of the board has changed, I'm more than happy to start that process and go into whatever level of foreclosure we can go.
And the deadline is, that it should expire. I mean,
Well, January 15th is the current deadline. But I right now, this time of year, I would normally be sending out my certified tax foreclosure letters. If you want me to go through that action, I'm more than happy to do that. The addition this year would be those foreclosure letters would also contain a hardship form that they can fill out. So the conversation with the board last month, it would be the same question again this month is.
I'm not advocating for it, I'm just saying, Saratoga and Warren are doing it, why can't we? There's the answer, we should all know what the answer is.
Okay, if that's all you need to know, then I'll stop.
And there was a cost, though, to sending those letters out, and then if it gets changed again, the letters mean nothing, you gotta start over, right?
If I send out 2,200 letters and I get 2,000 of them back with a hardship, you spent $20,000 or whatever for 200 properties. I'm not saying it's not worth it. That's why I'm asking the board's opinion. If you want me to start the process, I'm more than happy to do that. The option is to wait till January and go all in and move forward with, remember, we still have the 2018s out there that we have noticed, and we were halted completely, from even going to court on those. So, I mean, that's where we are.
And this could keep getting pushed and pushed and pushed.
I hope. It's not helping anybody putting it up.
Just out of curiosity, if they do the hardship notice, June 15th or January 15th, there's no more restrictions, you have to resend the letters out to everyone else, already for the hardships anyways. Would they be deferred for another year?
I defer to the county attorney, but my opinion is if they've been noticed, they've been noticed. I don't know that they have to re-notice them.
Problem is when, if and when this whole thing stops, the hardship notice and all that stuff, there's gonna have to be new court rules on what to do going forward. You know, because there's gonna be various people in various stages of these forbearance agreements, and do they continue, do they not continue, do they expire? So waiting until the dust settles seems to be, the best path forward at this point. And also, you know, we get to the point where then we're selling people's houses, and the board's gnashing their teeth about, oh, we're kicking people out of their houses. So, which one do you want to do? Is this the time you want to be doing that? Is this the time you want to be sending those notices, or should we wait and say, you know, this is where we're at going forward? Everybody understands what the rules are going forward. I think there'll be some new rules coming forward, but until we get out of the holding pattern of the temporary process that they've got going, where every one of these things also has to be conferenced with a judge before you can go forward and do that. Which I gotta tell you, I have a hard time scheduling, you know, mental health hearings these days, to find a judge to do that, never mind 2,200,
I appreciate Supervisor Hicks's comment, because it wasn't a question of pro or con, it was, when people ask me, I need to give an intelligent answer, so I appreciate that.
That's all, that's bringing up.
That helps me understand the question, thank you.
Yeah, we could just end up throwing good money after bad, that's the problem.
The message I think that I've been hearing and Al's been hearing is we wanna wait.
Hey, Chuck,
I have something under other when this is done.
we're good? Go ahead.
Are we there?
Yep, we're there.
Was, in government ops, was it put to bed about the shortfall to the towns, or is there more action that has to be done? Because there was discussion, it was coming to finance, or for some resolution, or maybe there wasn't necessary resolution, Roger, you did some type of summary about what the short.
It wasn't necessary for a resolution when we got all done.
It's all put to bed?
Yeah. I might be mistaken, but what I took from that was that there was gonna be a budget amendment on how it's being paid for.
Right. You budgeted to pay X amount, now it's $67,000 more than X, how are you gonna pay for that?
I would recommend decreasing the revenue and having contingency, but that's just my recommendation.
But, yeah, that's where we talked about it yesterday. That's what I would do, is say contingency. So yeah, if we're gonna have an actual resolution, I thought we got to the determination that nobody wanted a resolution, but that's okay.
I thought they wanted a budget amendment.
So,
You still gotta tell me how you're gonna come up with the $67,000 using budget.
Out of
That's
contingency.
the question.
contingency, we're gonna take $67,000 out of contingency that has over $800,000 in it, even though $288,000 is already encumbered. So we know this morning on something. So yeah, I need a motion to do that. Dave O'Brien, do I have a second?
No, to pay for it. Town's only allowed for $500.
Do we have a second? Please go. Any more discussion on that?
I have a question, Brian.
Yep.
This is the Roger parliamentary question. Roger, when there's a resolution by the board for this reval, and it says, and I'm just making this up, says each town will pay $500 per year for 2 years, that's the resolution. Is the budget comment at the very bottom, the budget impact statement, where it would say no cost to the county? That budget impact statement really has no teeth because it's not part of the resolution. It's just a comment. So here we have a resolution that conflicts, but if the budget impact statement is just a comment at the end, like an Alan Brown comment that he wanted that budget impact statement doesn't mean anything, does it?
No, but the contract, the MOU signed with those towns had the $500 in it as well. That's why they're
Yes.
still on the hook for 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, so whenever we see a budget impact statement, that's just a comment. It's not really part of the resolution.
Correct. It's not operative.
All
Why am I doing it is whereas, what am I doing is resolved. Budget impact statement's the cheat sheet at the end that says, and this is how much it's gonna cost you. If it's not, oftentimes it's in the resolution, but, the board, before my time, chose to add budget impact statements to all the resolutions. So
Yeah,
that's why
and
they're there.
the other one that we added was change, all the contingencies, it tries to keep track of them so you know what's in them. That's the only other thing that
Right,
it's
the
in the budget
master, the
impact.
master countdown.
Yeah, it gives you an idea what's left when you're done.
But it doesn't have the effect of anything.
Does the MOU say that there will be no cost to the county?
The MOU doesn't say there will be, to the county or the town?
To the county?
No, the MOU just says, we'll do the reval, the towns will cooperate, they'll pay the $500 over, I think, 2 years, and everybody will have insurance, and they're responsible for their own, you know, somebody damages something or does something wrong, they're responsible for their own people. That's all it said. There was never a discussion of allocating risk, because there was not supposed to be anything.
Thank
It was
you.
all supposed to
Didn't our authorizing resolution you read earlier, didn't that say the county would have no?
That was in the budget impact statement, that's what Dana's referring to.
Right. And shared services would cover it all. That didn't be the case.
Right, okay. All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Carried.
Right, it was anticipated at that time there would be no budget impact. Apparently there will be.
Right, right.
Sue Clary?
Can I go back to the auction,
To what?
to talking about the property auction?
Sure.
Al was nice enough to explain last night at our town board meeting about the impact that might or might not have on the construction of the bridge. Al, can you clarify that with those properties and for that?
Just a reminder that piece of, one of the properties that's up in the foreclosure list is, holding up the movement of the pole, which held up the construction of the bridge. And there's kind of three separate things going on there. There's the eminent domain path that's not anything to do with me. There's the auction path, which we're stalled out on. And then there's the ongoing negotiation that we have with the EPA in regards to the lien on the property. So all those things are continuing to move forward, but they didn't move forward in time.
Oh, moving damn slow.
The DPW superintendent's gonna recommend to you at some point that we go ahead with the condemnation, the temporary condemnation of the, whatever square feet of the thing it is, so that we can just move the pole and get going.
And you never heard back again from EPA, right?
We're still working
I'm
with
still working with EPA on working on an agreement, but it's slow. It's, you know, we have a call or an email and then it's 3 weeks, and then we have a question and it's 3 weeks.
And Thanksgiving and Christmas are coming, so it'll be 10 weeks. Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, that's a good update, because that really seems stalled. Chairman, do you have
Just
something?
the last question on the assessment thing, who's gonna write up the resolution on that? So we don't get there in front of you, we're all sitting here looking, pointing
The
fingers.
budget amendment resolution.
Yeah.
All it is.
Budget amendment, so.
Who's
Probably gonna be
prepare
Albert.
to chase down?
I'll work with Debbie, one of us will write it.
Yeah.
Won't be all right.
Sure will.
That answers my question, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, any budget questions, anybody have have anything they want in the budget or out of the budget that?
You wanna open that can of worms now?
Yeah.
I got a ton of them, but I
Call
didn't
Mandy
think,
and then bring some food in.
Whatever, go. But,
me?
yeah.
With, I don't even know whether I'm supposed to say this openly or not, but with
Well,
the
then don't say
proposal that you, mentioned, is that going to keep us or allow us to stay under the tax cap, which you kind of alluded to that it would?
Yeah.
But is it sustainable in the years to come?
Well,
That's where I want to know. I mean,
that's.
are you basing, well, anytime, even at my town budget, you know, if I had a shot of money, which I have with the solar, I got a shot of money, I could raise my budget $200,000, but next year I don't have the money to do it with. So What I wanna know, are we gonna, does this, your proposal, and I'm not opposed to your proposal, I'm just saying,
If-
long-term
I can
impact,
tell you,
if we
if I had
looked at,
those answers, I'd be sitting in a different chair than this one.
have you considered that in your proposal?
Oh, yes, yes.
So you feel it's doable?
Oh, I think it's doable, but I
For the
agree,
future, yeah.
I agree with John Rozelle and Matt Hicks, that it depends on what that,
Sometimes I agree with you on that.
It's what that tax
But we need to
increase
get to
is.
the guts on the book.
Yeah. That's where we're at.
And my second question is, over the years, when we've always dabbled with salaries between, exempt, non-exempt, department heads, employees, you say everything is always crowding and it becomes disproportionate. With this proposal of yours,
There's no
does it take care of that problem?
It does for now, yes.
It does for now.
Well, the
Every year
problem
they
is,
say,
you gotta
every year
remember.
they say, we'll make this adjustment, everything's gonna be good, and next year they
No,
say,
but-
well, we need to make this
Well, there's a
adjustment.
little caveat here, Matt. So, I've been here 14 years, in 5 years, they gave absolute zeros to the department heads when other ones got raises. That's what caused that.
Right, and I don't disagree with that.
This fixes that.
For a year.
No, this fixes that.
Put that in minutes,
Until-
put that in minutes, Debbie, so we can come back next year, I can.
No, where that comes unwound is when they don't give raises to the department heads, and they do to everyone else, causes the compression again. If you always treated it the same, they couldn't get closer. That's where the problem came. But yeah, Matt's right, nothing's a fix-all, there's always gonna be changes, and there's nothing we can do about that.
Okay, that's all my questions for now.
Well, that was easy, you got it done before noon.
No, like, you got no
Just
answer,
okay.
so I mean, why?
No, I just say that, we look at some of the salaries out there being paid by the local fast food markets, I mean, they're advertising $18, $20 an hour now. You're not gonna get that, I have to do something, but it's not gonna be pure all that we're looking for.
Well, you know, I kinda hadn't weighed in on where the one thing that was a missing piece for me that I got today was the minimum wage piece and where it's going, how fast it's gonna get there, and that changes to me a lot of things too. So it'll be interesting, and the thing you have to remember though, we aren't beholden to the minimum wage either. It's just how are we in public opinion if we don't? That's the problem. Melissa?
If I could just add to that, because Supervisor Shaw brought up the whole compounding thing, and that's exactly why we started talking about what we did, because when I first looked at that title by grading, you know that we have positions that pay under minimum wage. If you just move the ones at the bottom and don't move the ones that are above it, now you just compound.
You cause more compression.
Yeah, that was the first idea, that would be easier, could have just done that, but
Yeah.
there's a cost to that.
But to do it globally, even though today's news from Hal wasn't good, give it globally, this was the only real avenue. Whether it's to that degree or not, that's totally different.
What happens if all the sales tax numbers for the rest of the year are that same number?
Always.
Just come back on favor.
Shooting death.
Thanks for joining and playing part.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Or we top people. That's happened in the past too. I mean, there's all sorts of things that happen, so, but that's not what we're after. We're trying to retain people and you gotta remember, there's a certain amount that are on fixed income. There's another certain amount of taxpayers out there that are reaping the harvest from this situation also. That are, taking jobs because they are paying a lot more than they were. So you've got both sides here, but John Rozelle was absolutely right when he said that, the fixed income people is what you're worried about. But that's more on the tax rate or if there's a tax increase or not. That's kind of where that's on. So, any more questions on that? I don't want to ruin anybody's lunch. We're adjourned.